Solar gonna be losing 2 hatcheries as a result. Did land some decent counter damage, but can't afford to be losing any more hatcheries. And now Byun actually has a really tough spot here. And now Solar coming in from all angles. Zerglings, banelings, the whole kitchen sink. Everything cleaned up here. Solar is poking and prodding, just trying to gauge the strength of this army. Does have a huge counterattack being set up there. Obviously feels confident enough to hold this attack, and now pulling the trigger here is Solar. Byun has to do something, and fast. Solar evacuating that 3rd base. Solar unable to get into the main base. That's okay, he says, I'll take care of all of your SCVs on your 3rd base. Huge connections, huge losses, as this 4th base also going to get taken care of. So Solar going to be losing 2 hatcheries as a result. Did land some decent counter damage, but can't afford to be losing any more hatcheries. And now Byun actually has a really tough spot here. And now Solar coming in from all angles. Zerglings, banelings, the whole kitchen sink. Everything cleaned up here. All the siege tanks, rather. But Marines are still left standing, as Byun now has the superior army supply. These Liberators going to draw the army away from the main base, and here comes Byun with a big drop now, trying to target down that main hatchery. It looks like he's Will Solar a little too slow. Byun now taking his focus instead on those Zerg units. Nice little swarm there on the medevacs. They are all going to be taken out. All but one, that is. A lot of bio being lost in the main base, but Byun still has plenty more where that came from. Onto this 3rd base now. Solar is in danger of being down to just 2 bases, essentially. He does have that corner base that Byun, I don't think, knows about, but Solar desperately wants to hold on to this. Great target fire there on the banelings, as Byun is taking out Zerg, banelings, workers alike. You really can just right-click that hatchery now, and Solar is going to be in a very difficult spot. No other units streaming in from the topside force. Solar is taking out the tanks, though, and desperately by the skin of his teeth wards off the last of this Terran force, but not able to catch a break as Byun again in the main base. Gonna take out this upgrade here from Solar. Does deny it, and again poking in on those Hydras. Solar is being picked apart one by one here. This hatchery will fall, and drones being evacuated. Now Solar is in a tough spot. Byun has been able to come back with some brilliant maneuvering, some brilliant offense here, as he's continuing his assault right towards the middle, right towards the heart of Solar. We still have units in the main base of Solar, and Solar just can't seem to get enough going, so Byun will take game 1 here from him. Also setting up that Banshee on the top side, and here comes Byun now, dropping a scan with the stim forward as well. Solar trying to maneuver in and out with the Queens, and now going to wrap around with the Zerglings. With Byun is there with the medevac. Does he lose one? No, he does not. Overall, setting himself up to be a little bit more defensive, at least for the next few minutes here, as we do have a lot of siege tank support, and Byun immediately moving to take that 3rd base. But Solar doesn't want any part of it, as he's sending this force forward, but the siege tank fire is just too great. Able to take out one of the tanks, but not able to deny this 4th base from going down. We do have Ghosts now joining the fray as well. Getting some cheeky little snipes, and now here come the Broodlords. So Byun sees that Solar behind this has teched up into some late game tech here, into some siege weapons from the Zerg. Byun now working on just a single Viking to counter, but really doesn't have too much in the way of direct counters here. So these Broodlords are just raining death from afar on this forward base here. The siege tanks may be doing more damage than good against their own siege tanks, against their own SCVs, as Ghosts and Vikings trying to do what they can to thin the numbers of the Broodlords, and are able to take out a few there. But Solar trying to go for a wraparound here on this force. Is it going to be enough to muscle through this Terran army? Byun is caught between his own buildings and these Zerg forces, but actually able to dissipate a lot of the steam behind this attack. So Solar forced to back off, but 37 workers behind this have been taken out, and now again another dive in from Solar, as Byun is trying to kite backwards, taking more and more damage. Really tough spot here for Solar to approach from. Literally just a single lane, a single choke point. Really has to rely on those Broodlords to create the path for him, although And their numbers, as small as they are now, they're not going to be able to do much. So it is up to these Ultralisks now in the front as Solar pulls the trigger here. Byun trying to kite backwards to survive as best as he can. Loses more SCVs, but I don't think Byun has the muscle as Solar surprising him with the brute strength of these Ultras in the front. Gonna power through and actually gonna take this match here from Byun. Gonna find himself in a good spot economically. Byun is pressing forward. Aha, gotcha, he says as he scans and wants to take out this gold base before it can even get up and running. Will we get the cancel? Yes, we do. And now Byun pressing forward on top of the ramp as well. Already with the aggression is Byun, but the queens in front are there to deter any further advance as he is slowly inching his way forward. Once again, putting Solar on the back foot here. And Solar is trying to get a counterattack going or just attack from the direct rear here of Byun's forces as he is right out into the middle of the map, sees that Solar has made an entrance here close to his home base, is gonna start wreaking havoc there on that building. Command center does get the kill as well. Byun just has a handful of Marines to try to defend this. As for the rest of his force, just gathering up outside of Solar's fourth base here. He is just slowly bringing up the tanks in the rear and now is going to start trying to trade out and land some decent blows here as Solar is sandwiched back behind his mineral line. Doesn't have the clearance yet, but now is going to press forward and dive in right on those tanks with the Banelings. They do take out both of them. Byun, though, navigating backwards behind the mineral line. Doesn't have enough space to pick up all of those Marines. They just get obliterated by the Banelings there at the same time. Byun, though, has dropped onto this fourth base here from Solar, forcing an evacuation of the drones and actually taking out a good handful of them as well. Once again, diving, though, on this third base. Byun going back, just trying to pull Solar apart, and Solar is trying to hang on. He's getting thinned out, though, by Byun's forces as now into the main base here. The pocket expansion is wreaking havoc there, and Byun killing off drones one by one. Solar doesn't seem to have the army supply to deal with this. Byun may well be sending him back home. He does. It is all over. Byun advances forward.